So I was on stream, as I do. Somebody was like, hey, Premier League starts next weekend. So then I exploded into a panic because I'd said that I was going to do a Premier League pick video and I hadn't even started putting my picks together, which is a problem. So I attempted to make up for lost time. Carry the 7. Pass it on. Grealish on the national team. Where does he stand? Oh, he's the best player in the league. Are there any good young Portuguese players? Maybe they'll help Wolves. Where are his pants? Short. Good. If he makes the transfer, they're going to be better. They'll probably be worse. 17 crossing. Excellent potential. Is there anyone in there to help Aubameyang? No. Now I can't see. Leeds fans everywhere. Where was he born? Who does he play for? Well, Arsenal used to have him. That means he's terrible. They have 5 Americans. I have my picks. So after crunching the numbers, crunching the players, and coming up with a battle plan, I have your Premier League picks. If you want to debate them with me, my Twitter is in the description, so you can absolutely leather me there or in the comments or on the like button or the subscribe button or something. I don't normally say that. I don't know. I don't. Okay. It's okay, Zealand. Let's make the picks. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to go top down. I'm going to start with the team I think is going to finish first, and then I'm going to go all the way down to the team I think is going to finish last. I have no logical reason for doing that other than I think it's the easiest way to do it for me mentally. And I give myself the opportunity to make transfer assumptions. And that is very, very important with the club that I have going number 1. Zealand's Premier League predictions. Drum roll, please. I've never done these before, so drum roll is necessary. Manchester City is going to win the Premier League in 2020-2021 because Lionel Messi is going to be on Manchester City. And all of you fools say he's washed up and can't play in the Premier League. I think you're wrong. I could be proven wrong, but I think you are wrong. I think he's still the most gifted, talented player on the face of the earth, and that everybody that assumes that he can't play in the Premier League or he'd be worse in the Premier League or he's definitely going to be worse in the Premier League because he's old and he's got a cane or when he talks like this. No. Okay, it's Messi. They also got Nathan Ake, who I think is a great defensive player. The only other flaw to me on the team is the fact that Gabby Jesus is supposed to be the guy finishing it off. I think he's a great player with a lot of skill. I just don't think he's a poaching type player who finishes off moves. If they get somebody that is that, as Sergio Aguero apparently is somebody they just don't want to play all the time, then like Manchester City could walk the league. But now, the team that finishes second. I'm going to want you to take a breath for this because it's not going to surprise you at all. I'm going with Liverpool to finish second. I think there's going to be some distance here, but it's important not to overlook the fact that Liverpool has the 2 best fullbacks in the league, and it's probably not even close. Like Andy Robertson and the TAA, they're fantastic. They're the 2 best fullbacks in the league, and they've got Van Dijk standing in between them. That's why you could wheel out Dejan Lovren as well for a long time and still be great as a defensive unit. And now that they have Alisson back there helping them out, the defense is amazing. Whether you think Mo Salah is deteriorating, whether you think Bobby Firmino is bad, I think Sadio Mane was honestly like the best guy in the front 3 last year, even though Salah scored more goals than him. Even if you think the midfield is weird and Jordan Henderson's overrated, that defense with those fullbacks, they're good. Like real good. Probably best in the world. Back 5. Willing to have that conversation, but I mean, really. Maybe Bayern, but Bayern's not in the Prem, so Liverpool finishing second. Now for the third pick. This is where I feel like everybody's got their clear top 2. There was a clear top 2 this past year, and I'm assuming that top 2 is going to be there again. I never said they were going to be clear. I think this third team and the 4th place team that I'm picking are going to be able to hang with the top 2. And the 3rd place team is Chelsea. Yeah, that's right. The team that apparently has more money than Manchester City during this offseason. Don't really know how. But once Kai Havertz goes through, you're starting to get so many players that you really don't know where to stash them all. And they still haven't signed a center back that everybody goes, yes! They're signing everything else. They got Chilwell for an obscene amount of money. It's like they were paying per square foot on his forehead, which I would also be very expensive. It's okay. You got Havertz, you got Timo Werner. Obviously, these guys are going to be making a transition into the league, but the firepower on this team, and you put it in front of N'Golo Kante, who, whether you like him going forward or not, has 8 lungs and can just swallow attacks whole if he's given the opportunity to play that holding midfield spot and just run 20 miles a game. Ziyech's up there. Christian Pulisic, assuming that he can just like duct tape his muscles together, is obviously my American hero and proved himself to be an absolute freaking stud. Callum Hudson-Odoi, who Lampard apparently hates. Mason Mount is on the team, and Mount just plays every minute of like every game, and he's around. Kovacic is clearly a talented player. I mean, you start like, where do you put these guys? How do you line them up? I'm glad it's not my problem because they're very good. Somebody's going to be like, but dude, Malang Sarr very well could be the answer. I don't think he's an immediate answer. If you're a Chelsea fan, you're rooting for that to be proved wrong. He's not a big guy, so he's going to have to play with confidence. He's going to have to play with athleticism. We'll see. They just need dudes at center back, and towards the end of the season, they didn't even have that. Fourth, this is going to be a very competitive position between these two clubs that are very close last year. Manchester United. I have a well-documented dislike for Manchester United. Their owners own my American football team, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They did win us 1 Super Bowl, but they're just not good owners. Manchester United also sued a bunch of content creators or sent cease and desist letters, which is just, they're also suing Football Manager. Clearly, they are attempting to get me to hate them. That has nothing to do with this pick, though. I'm a man of reason, and I think it's going to be very close. Chelsea just has so much firepower. I take them a couple points ahead of United. United's development with Martial, Rashford, and Greenwood. They've got a front 3 right up there with Werner, Ziyech, Pulisic. In my opinion, very little to separate those two. Obviously, I think Greenwood, and this hurts me to say this, is going to end up being the best player out of all 6 of those. We'll see how quickly Mason Greenwood develops. I think the issue for United is, one, if they stick with De Gea, he's just bad. Doesn't feel like United, even though they gave Henderson that big contract, doesn't feel like they've actually acknowledged that De Gea has completely fallen apart in the last year and a half. But if they do that, they should be okay. And I'm giving the edge, obviously, to Chelsea's midfield to carry the day. Injuries notwithstanding on this whole table of predictions, by the way, but they will be standing anyways, because I'll make that video in 9 months that goes, why I was so wrong about my predictions. If Greenwood turns into an absolute global superstar next year, which I could see happening, then United's got an outside chance to win the entire league and get their whole, we're the biggest club in the world thing back. Right now, I've got them finishing 4th because outside of the front 3, I'm just not inspired by anyone. It feels like a team in transition outside of those 3 guys. And my projection to finish 5th is a team that really I called in a previous video the best bad team, the new big kid on the block, Leicester. I'm taking Leicester to finish 5th. I mean, this team is good. Even though they lost Chilwell, they do really good business. So Leicester's going to take that money, spend it like I would in Football Manager. Like they'll take that money and spend it on 4 or 5 guys that they got for Chilwell and just keep the team going. I trust their coaching. I trust their player development. I trust the way they're trying to do it. I don't know if Brendan Rodgers keeps the job the whole season. I think if they start poorly, he gets fired. But I don't think they start poorly. I think Leicester continues to play like a lower end big team the way they have been able to. I really like Siyunchu, by the way. I think Leicester finishes 5th. My pick to finish 6th. A team that is motivated, a team that is really building itself up to this point, and a team that probably deserves to be at this point, and that team is Wolves. I think Wolves finished 6th, and I know I'm going to get a lot of hate from Tottenham and Arsenal supporters for this, but I really do believe when you're a team like this for a year or 2, you are right there, and you can't quite kick the door in completely into a confident spot and get back into the top 6 here. I think they're going to do it. Jimenez is a great player. He's surrounded by great players. They do a very good job of building a unique identity, locker room atmosphere. And if they can keep Adama Traore, the dude is what? He's definitely to me, top 10 in the Prem. I mean, unbelievably dynamic player. There are very few players in the world that can completely shatter a game open the way that he can. If he stays, they're top 6. If he doesn't, I think they're 8th. That's how important I think he is, and the rest of the team around him, they make things happen. See those biceps? He oils himself before the games. The audacity of that. My 7th finishing team is Arsenal. I think Arsenal's going to be around the top 7 the whole season. I don't think they're going to need the late kind of arrival that they had to get this year. Problem with Arsenal is that they're like a retirement home. It's like the MLS in the Prem. David Luiz, Willian, what are you doing? I mean, David Luiz is capable of being great, but he's equally as capable of being an absolute travesty. But at least they got Aubameyang back, who is still underrated. He's one of the best finishers I've ever seen. Everybody just goes, oh, Aubameyang, he's just fast. Like, he finishes everything, and he's what carries them above Spurs. Well, I'm putting Spurs next. Spurs are a team in transition. I think that Jose Mourinho's job, not an easy team for him to take over. They have Bergwijn, who everybody's really fired up about, but honestly, there's not a big sample size. Harry Kane, who seems to be in and out of fitness, just kind of getting back right towards the end of the previous season. And I love Son. Reece is not great anymore. It's all this weird. I mean, look at the team. I mean, really look at the team. They need help. I don't know where they're going to get it. They don't have the magic camaraderie of Poch anymore. They don't have Christian Eriksen. They don't have Vertonghen. It's going to be a tough road. It's going to be a tough road for Tottenham. And after that, you've got, well, 9 through 20 that are, honestly, the majority of them could finish anywhere. But I'm going 9th. I'm going with Southampton. I've got one very, very simple reason. Every single time I watch Danny Ings, he scores. So all I have to do is watch Southampton play every game, and they'll definitely finish in the top 9. Every time I watch him, he scores. It's ridiculous. Sometimes even twice. Well, I've been holding this pen the whole time. I feel like it makes me look more educated. While we're on the subject of great forwards, Richarlison at Everton carries them. Everton has been comfortable, at least when I've been watching them, competing against everybody. Richarlison carries. 10th place finish for Everton. Reece, you're welcome. I put you in the top half, and I was completely unbiased in doing it. Now, my 11th pick is going to be interesting to you because this is a team I actually forgot. I didn't completely forget when I took a Premier League teams quiz and like English League teams quiz, but it took me way too long to get them. I actually have educated myself here about this situation, and normally I would say Sheffield United's performance last season was a fluke, and that over a long off season, teams would be able to sit down and research and train and go, okay, they've got this weird tactical system. This is how we combat it. Well, guess what, sweetheart? There is no long off season. So Sheffield United doing a lot of the same things that they did last season, and I think Sheffield United rolls into 11th. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see them higher and up to 9th, but I think Sheffield United roll very clear safe of the relegation zone. Obviously, talent-wise, you wouldn't be shocked to see them down there, but I just think that the camaraderie and the tactical system, I'm freaking overlapping center backs. Like, who comes up with this stuff? It's going to be an FM next year. I'm not even going to know what to do with that at all. I got to prepare myself for this next pick, because if I'm wrong, I'm going to get a lot of hate. If I'm right, I'm going to get a lot of love. That's not necessarily why I'm doing it, but I think I'm right. My pick to finish 12th is Leeds, the highest newly promoted team. You hear the chanting now. I can hear the chanting now. I'm sorry to everybody I'm putting below Leeds, but here's the deal. Leeds is good. They've been good for a few years now. Like, very good, but they've been suffering from a weight of incredible expectation to get themselves back into the Premier League. Well, guess what? Now they're here. Bamford, Phillips, the pile, they're here. The pressure's off. You don't have to get back to the Premier League. You can just let loose and play. And Bielsa is one of the best coaches in the league. He's a maniac, bit weird. His team will be ready to play. They will be committed. There will be no locker room problems unless he starts spying on people again. So once that pressure is off, really to avoid relegation, you just have to play with confidence and play with fun. And I think they're going to be able to do that. Now my pick to finish 13th, and you are welcome, Spencer FC. West Ham is going to finish 13th. Mikel Antonio, who I think looks like just a lumbering bear when he's out there, was on fire towards the end of the season. And Declan Rice is a field marshal. I don't think he's a world-beating superstar like some people, but he is a field marshal. And West Ham has like some players that can actually do things. And the guy I'm thinking of when I say that incredibly useful and descriptive sentence, Felipe Anderson. This dude doesn't actually do anything, but he's incredibly talented. You know that every time you watch him play. If he can get it back going again, if West Ham can go higher than 12 or 13 where I've got him pegged. But I think they stick at 13. I think they're much more comfortably out of the relegation battle than they were this time, which I'm sure would be great news to that fan base. My pick for 14th, Burnley. Burnley's unkillable. Like, when if last year proved anything, Burnley's like the most nondescript, unkillable team in the league. They're not going down. They have 25 lives, man. They just keep chugging. Nobody will notice us if we just keep chugging. You have that type of mentality, and you have Nick Pope. Go Burnley! Honestly, out of every Premier League team, I probably love the least about Burnley, which is why they're 14th. Now the 15th team, which would typically be, when you get into the last couple weeks in the season, the team that is the last one that's like kind of comfortable. Obviously, it depends on the season. Aston Villa. Jack Grealish is a great player. Everybody hates that fact. Jack Grealish is a great player, and he just got his first call up to the English national team. I think he's going to be playing with swagger and freedom, and I loved the way Aston Villa played to close out the season. They played with confidence, like they knew they were going to have a chance to get out, like they knew they had the ability to get out of the relegation zone. I think that type of performance, if you're not Sunderland, in the last decade is typically indicative of teams that are going to be able to stay up a little more comfortably next year. In Sunderland's case, they just did it multiple years in a row and eventually went down because they had no actual talent. Aston Villa has actual talent. They have one talent, and they have a slightly pudgy but much more athletic than me, John McGinn. 16 for me is Crystal Palace. Now, Crystal Palace is a team that had a lot of fool's gold last year. They were really doing well before the league got back from the pandemic caused break, and then, well, it all fell apart. No one was paying attention because they were already safe, but they boom, right down the table. Now, Wilfred Zaha, nobody's really quite sure what his deal is. I feel like that's the best way I can sum it up. If their form carries over from what they did to finish the season, it's a real problem. What the heck happened to Christian Benteke, by the way? I used to have him and Lukaku with like in the same category in my mind. That didn't last long. They do have IU though. I like IU. They have enough, is what I'm saying. They have enough. I picked to finish 17th, and this was a very difficult one for me because I really wasn't sure. I was between two teams. You put this stuff in after reading about everything, and this lower part of the table is just so up in the air. One injury could flip the whole thing. Brighton. I think Brighton misled some people with just how good they were capable of being, but they stay up. They showed enough good form at the beginning of the return from the pandemic. I think if they get two spurts like that throughout the course of the regular season this year, Brighton is able to stay up. And that means that the 18th team is Newcastle. I don't want to do it to my boy DeAndre, but why are you playing my boy DeAndre? Because then he has to start for the U.S. national team. Like, he's okay. He's not going to get you anywhere. And Newcastle's been sputtering a little bit for a while. And I think they're about to sputter a lot a bit. They finish 18th. And that is in spite of the efforts of Alain Saint-Maxime. I think it was more of a flash in the pan thing. Hopefully for Newcastle fans, it wasn't. And if it's not, then they're 15th or 14th, and that blows up the rest of my picks. I think Newcastle goes down, and I think they are honestly the only team of the three that go down that is really fighting to the end with Brighton. Hove and Albion are staying up, you know. Well, that's 18 perfect picks. We have 2 left to make, and I just have to pick an order of the 2 teams that were promoted. And I'm going West Brom. And I'm only going West Brom above Fulham because I really think Fulham is bad. Like, I legitimately think Fulham is a bad team. I know they're making 1 or 2 signings. They brought in Anthony Robinson, who's an American close to my heart. But I watched Fulham in the playoffs in particular and was wholly unimpressed. Just really was not impressed with what they were able to do. Onoma is a good player. He's not a great player. Knockaert is a classic. In the United States, we call it quadruple A player. He's not good enough for the majors, but he's good in the second league. Kind of in between. I just don't see it. West Brom's got more momentum coming out of the last season. I think they're going to be able to finish 19th. I think Fulham's going to have a lot of work to do, even with the moves they've made, to keep themselves from being the new Norwich, where they end up completely out of touch as you get towards the end of the season, and the bounce up to the Premier League is really part of a longer plan where they go back down and then try and go up again and be able to make it stick. West Brom, I think, does have a chance to make it stick. It's just not a very good chance. I don't see the people that are able to make high-level plays in the Premier League. I mean, Aston Villa's got an English international. They were in the relegation battle last year. You need, and this is a phrase that I might abuse, you need dudes. You need guys that can really play at a Premier League level. And Hal Robson-Kanu, despite his Cruyff turns, is just not that guy. Maybe Matias Pereira can be that guy, but let's be honest with ourselves. We really don't know. And then Fulham in last, rather convincingly for me. And ladies and gentlemen, this table, those are my Premier League predictions. May I be 100% correct and brag about it for the rest of my life. I'll see you on another video. Check the links out in the description and stay easy, breezy, and beautiful.